Hey folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today we're breaking ground on Icelandic recording artist Björk. Former lead singer of the Sugar Cubes, she became a big star in her own right during the 90s. There's this channel that we go to once in a while and find really incredible stuff that aired in Europe, not necessarily the United States, and he used to videotape everything. It's called Scottish TV. We've seen a few other things from his channel, particularly Talk concert video footage. Every once in a while, something comes along because I subscribe to the channel, and I noticed this the other day, and I said, I think that we ought to put a spotlight on Björk because she was important for a moment there, and she was a really interesting artist. So we're going to look at a song that was on her debut album called Debut, which came out in 1993. I remember I used to have the CD. It kind of walked away. I don't know what happened to it. I've been meaning to repurchase it for decades now. I just haven't done it yet. But this is a song off it called One Day. I think it'll be interesting. She isn't necessarily straight up rock and roll. It's more
electronic, I would say.
Yeah, electronic and experimental. At this point, she was closer to pop and rock than I think she was after. I think every subsequent release took her further away from that. That's just my impression, but I thought this would be fun. So, Adrian, what do you think? Looking at this,
I think I can remember this song. I had a few a while back. I had a few Björk CDs.
Mm-hmm. So this is a live performance from 1994, right about that era. So let's check it out. We'll talk about it afterwards.
Alrighty.
Now, live from the enemy stage, Björk.
One day it'll all come true.
was interesting for a lot of reasons, I thought. But what were your impressions?
I haven't seen Björk perform live before. In this one, she kind of looks to me like an elf in a little pink dress or something. Just kind of, bouncing around a lot, just jumping around.
Yeah, this is the beginning of her solo career. And previous to that, she was in the Sugar Cubes, which, it was an okay band. I did like a lot of what they did. However, they had a second guy, a vocalist in there, that I found very annoying, personally. He did weird things. He seemed to do things to kind of break up the mood. And so I never really enjoyed listening to the Sugar Cubes because of that. But Björk I like. And so maybe she's just feeling like, this is great. I don't have this guy screaming weirdness, next to me. The thing that stuck out for me is that this is fully the electronic age by this time, but nearly all of the instruments in use here are real instruments. You got the flute, you got the djembes, you got a real drum kit, real bass player. You've got the keyboards doing the sequenced thing. And maybe there's another keyboard track that's just kind of playing. I didn't actually see anybody playing the keyboard, but there's all those authentic real instruments that are being played by actual authentic real musicians. And so I think that's great. I don't know if that's how it always was with her or not, but it is certainly right here at the start of her solo career. I think it's a wonderful thing.
I thought she really writes interesting music. And her singing style is very unique.
I agree. She makes up sounds and things that aren't necessarily words, but they still emote a certain emotion.
Yeah. And sometimes she'll use Icelandic words instead of English words, so it can sound like anything to an English speaker.
There's some interesting comments in here that came from All Music, which is a place where they will review albums, and talk about albums. So talking about this album, they said, it's creative, tantalizing electronic pop. New York Times wrote, debut often recalls the early 70s jazz fusion of bands like Weather Report. Gee, we just looked at something. Remember Ellen? She was kind of doing a Weather Report, not a song by Weather Report, but something kind of inspired by a song on Weather Report. But where these fusionists combine jazz harmony with funk and acid rock, Björk marries her scat vocalese and off-kilter melodies with the futuristic textures and programmed percussion of today's techno and acid house. And then somebody else from The Face says it was a delightful fusion of thrash metal, jazz, funk, and opera, with the odd dash of exotica thrown in for good measure. Billboard calls it an art pop masterpiece. So this is why I think she's an interesting artist. I mean, listen to all of those different takes that those different reviewers had on that record, which included this song. They're pretty much correct. That was the thing about the album. It was always interesting to listen to, no matter what was going on. Like, all the songs on it are interesting. You get into post, and it started, to me, it got a little bit more distracting. That song that was a remake where she screams in the middle.
It's Oh So Quiet.
Yeah, that one. I think it's actually kind of a show tune or something. But
it sounds like a show tune.
Yeah, it has that feeling, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not really what I was looking for. You know what I mean? I like this, and I like the other songs on this album. As I recall them, I really need to listen to the album again. So this was Glastonbury Festival, June 25th, 1994. I thought it was really cool. I'm so glad that it was captured and kept for years on a VHS by Scottish TV. Very much appreciated. If you're watching this, thank you so much, not just for this, but for all the stuff that you collected and then shared on YouTube. I think that it aged well. I mean, this is 32 years ago. It could almost show up at a festival today. I enjoyed that. That was kind of a nice little trip down memory lane. And also, I'm not sure that I've seen Björk. I think maybe I've seen some videos, I think. I think I've seen some actual music videos. I'm not sure if I've actually seen her in a setting like this before. So that was cool.
Yeah, I was just surprised to see the bass guitar and the flute, because even when you listen to it, it sounds almost like it's electronic, and maybe they are being put through some effects or something like that.
It's possible that it was produced more electronically. It could be that there's more MIDI work in there, and perhaps the actual bass line on the record is from, I don't know, a DX7 or some synthesizer, because back then we didn't yet have, workstations where you could have your studio, unless you were really, really rich. Like I think Dire Straits did Brothers in Arms in that situation, and David Bowie did an album in the mid-90s that was all to a hard disk. But that wasn't really available for consumer use yet, not in that form. There were other things, but not that, That's a whole other video.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I liked it a lot. I'm really glad that it was performed the way it was, and I'm glad that it was preserved for our eyes to see so much later, because I doubt we would have seen it otherwise if it hadn't been saved by somebody.
Yeah, it was good to hear the song again. I haven't heard it in a long time.
All right, folks, why don't you let us know what you thought of this? If you were ever a Björk fan, if you ever saw her live, tell us about that. Leave that in the comments below. If you have other things to suggest, you can leave those too. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed the presentation, please subscribe. All right, thanks so much for joining us today. We will catch you on the next one. Take care, folks.
See you all later.